So I work in various clinics checking people in for various kinds of appointments, from primary care to specialty care to urgent care to I was going to come up with some fourth thing that was a joke of some kind, but I can't really think of any joke that ends in care. Anyway, I was checking in a guy who said that he had an appointment. I look out on our schedule. Sure enough, no appointment there. And so I'm very confused. So I say, hey, can you give me your medical card? I look at his medical card, type his information into the computer, and still, I find his profile, like his medical profile, still there's no appointment scheduled for today. I'm like, you're sure that it's for today at this time? He says, yes, it is. And I say, okay, well, what is it? And he says, it's for addiction treatment. And this is not the first time that this has happened. I was relatively new to working in this clinic at the time, and a few people had come through, and I wasn't authorized to look at the addiction treatment appointments yet. And what I hated about this was that I then had to say, I'm sorry, go to my supervisor, or not necessarily my supervisor, one of my coworkers, and say, hey, I'm not authorized to do this yet. Can you please authorize, or check this guy in? And what I hated about that is that this is a very vulnerable reason why this person's in the hospital or clinic. I mean, obviously a lot of reasons for being in the clinic are very vulnerable, but I just hated having to announce specifically, hey, this person has an addiction they're trying to treat. I can't check them in for it. Will you please do it? And we had asked administration to please give me access to check in addiction appointments. They've since done that, but they hadn't yet. And it had been over a week since last I had talked to them about this. And so I turned to the coworker next to me. As soon as he says, for addiction, I turn to the coworker and say, this is awful. And I had good intentions with that, with shouting and getting frustrated. I felt like I was looking out for I was sort of defensive of his situation. Like, hey, I don't like having to announce that this person has an addiction treatment that they have to go to. But then by shouting at my coworker, first of all, the coworker was chill. I wouldn't shout at a coworker who I wasn't, on a good basis with. By shouting at that coworker, I made both the patient checking in and my coworker uncomfortable. And why did I do that? Because I felt bad about the patient being uncomfortable. Right? I still, instead of having one person kind of uncomfortable from this, I had two people uncomfortable from this. I had a little freak out that I thought was justified. But it taught me a little bit of a lesson that I've known before. I've known before from a few other instances that make me hang my head in shame. And what I think a lot of people that you see ranting on their social medias and stuff about a lot of social justice things, which social justice is great. A well-intentioned freakout is still a freakout, and it's not very approachable. Most of the time doesn't get your message across very well, and makes people feel more isolated from you than they might have otherwise. I'm not telling anybody how to express their opinion because, hey, I have plenty of not well-intentioned freakouts, particularly like the past day or two. My anger has been pretty bad. I keep getting really annoyed and snarky and a couple times shouty at the air about things. Yeah, a well-intentioned freakout is still a freakout. And what I realized from that also is that a lot of the time a freakout, when it gets to freakout zone, it becomes also about me. Hey, I'm a virtuous person who's looking out for this person. So listen to me as I get so angry and loud. Or maybe I'm looking out for myself, although people don't usually consider that well-intentioned. Yeah, it becomes about me. I realized it crossed a line where I might have thought that it was about him. It was about me. It was about my situation not being heard and not being appreciated. A lot of the time we say I'm just mad because I'm just looking out for this person or this person or this person. Yeah, kind of, but there's some way in which you feel like you are being mistreated, or there's just a way you just want to be heard, and maybe you don't think your own problems are strong enough to warrant somebody listening to you, and so you need to take somebody else's problems and put it there instead. But it's always a freak out. It's always a freak out. And I just don't have a need for a freak out. I'm not saying I never will ever again. I mean, I probably will later today, even if it's just an internal one. But it's just there's no reason there's no reason to to get shouty. I was gonna end this with some sort of ironic joke about like I say, so don't do it, and I scream at the top of my lungs, but legitimately I just can't do that right now. My voice is shot.